Hello and welcome back. Today in this session we are going to talk about object-oriented programming concept in Python. Okay, what is object-oriented programming in Python? In Python we have the concept of classes and object. And what is a class? It is a blueprint that defines attributes and methods. And suppose you want to build a house. Before building a house, you have a blueprint, meaning that you designed the structure of your house, how many windows does it have, and how many doors and rooms it should contain, and also how many floors. Before constructing your house, you have a blueprint, and then you will use this blueprint to build an instance of this house. This is the same concept in programming languages. First you define the class, and after that you will create an instance of that class, which is called object. Now inside each class we have some attributes and methods. For example, in house you have doors, and for example you have informations about windows, floors, and the color of house, something like that. These are called attributes. Attributes, variables inside a class that stores data about the object, in this case house. And then we have methods, like let's talk about car. What methods does the class car contains? For example, it stops, it starts, it moves, and it contains functions inside a class that defines what the objects can do or performs. This is called method. In this case, you can call it also function. Okay. As I said, we talked about car class, and in car class we have some attributes, for example color, wheels, engines, windows, doors, and model. And also you have some methods like methods. For example, car can drive, car can stop, car can honk, something like that. Similarly, if you want to create a class about restaurant staff, and there are some attributes about it, for example, the role of staff, tables, and for example, shift, either they are working in the morning or night shift. Okay, which methods does it contain? For example, they serve food, they staff, and they can clean, they take order, they can cook. Okay, now you understood what class and objects are. Let's talk about naming convention. Classes uses Pascal class naming, meaning that it always starts with a capital letter. It should be capitalized. Okay, for example, in this case, car starts with a capital letter, not with small letter. For example, bank account, you can see bank starts with a capital letter. Video player, something like this. Now you understood what class and objects are, so let me give you a demo. Okay, let me create another file. for example, class object dot I. In our demo, I'm not creating a class. I just want to create an object from the class which has been already created by other Python developers. In this case, I want to import some packages. For example, I import, in this case, turtle, and inside this is a package. If you remember, we worked with module, random package, random. We import that in order to use this package or module. Now inside this module or package, we have several classes, and each class has been created to serve a specific functionality, and it should be used for a specific purpose. Now I want to use inside this package, if I access classes, you can see I press dot, you will see all the informations, all the classes, functions inside this package. You can see there are all classes that have been already created by a Python engineer. Now I want to use this class turtle. Okay, if I want to use that, now I want to create object of this class. For example, I say for example, I say Nemo, whatever you want. For example, cat, for example, whatever you want. Now if I want to use some functions and some methods inside this class, I have to call that using dot notation. After I press dot, you will see lots of functions, and this is one way. And the simplest way is, okay, you can input like this. I say from turtle module or package import turtle class. Now I want to create the object from this. I can say, okay, Mimo equal to turtle. You can see I simply created the object of this class. Now if I want to print Mimo, you will see a window appears, and it disappears immediately. Now you can see the output, okay, from this package. We imported our turtle class inside this package. We import this and we created the object, and right now it is stored inside of this location in the computer's memory. Okay, now as you can see, once I run my code, you will see a window. You can see a window appears and it disappears immediately. Now what I'm trying to do, I want to keep this window open until I click on the window. Okay, in this case I import another class which is called screen. Right now if I want to use this class, I have to create the object of that class. It should be in small letter, screen, and okay, for example, I say screen. inside this class we have a subject, we have a function, okay, for keeping the window open. So we can use that function, which is called exit on click. Right now, if I want to run my code again, you will see right now it stays open until I click the window. Okay, perfect. Right now I want to use another functions inside this class. For example, I want to change the color of this object that I have created. Now I want to say, okay, mimo dot, I say please change the color to, for example, red. You will see now the color has been changed to red. Okay, if you want to for example, change the shape, how can you do that? You can use another function inside this class, turtle class. You say, okay, I want to change the shape to, for example, turtle. Okay, right now you will see the shape changed. Perfect. This is how you can create class. Okay, create class, create object from a class and use that, some functionalities, some methods, some variables inside this class. And this is very easy if you ask yourself, okay, how this class has been created and how these functions have been created. It is very simple. For example, let me my own function, for example, my own package .py. Now I want to create this package or module. Okay, inside this module I want to create I want to design a software for car. Okay, you are working, for example, in Toyota company. Right now, if I want to define some attributes regarding car, so I say color, which is equal to red. For example, price should be number, so in this case 2400, and model, for example, Toyota. And okay, these are all attributes that I use for my car. Now if I want to define some function, this is just an example, keep in mind this is just an example, I didn't create a class. Okay, this is an example of how can we create package. Now I want to add a functions for starting a car starts, right? This is method. When car starts, you display this message, the car starts. And okay, I define another function, stop. I say when the car stops, you display this message, the car stops. Okay, I think it's enough, and I created this package. Okay, now I want to, if I want to use that, I can simply import that. Import the name of my package. See? Similarly, like random, turtle, something like this, I can right now use functions, classes, and some attributes inside this package. How can I do that? If I want, I'm not using this code, so I am commenting that. Now, if I want to use some functions or some attributes inside this package, how can I use that? Okay, I want to simply use some attributes. For example, I need the model, for example. Okay, I write the name of the package, and then how do you access the attributes with dot notation? Once you press dot, you will see all informations inside this package. For example, there are 2 functions and there are 3 attributes, 2 methods and 3 attributes. Now I use, for example, model. Right now, if I want to run my code, you will see it shows the model of my car. Okay, if you want to use the function, start function, you can similarly access that. First, name of your package or module. Then, for example, I use this function. Right now, if I want to run my code, my function should be working. You can see function starting at this. Okay, all right. So this is how you can create a package. And similarly, we use this package which have been already created by Python engineers. Okay, for example, in this case, turtle. Okay, now if you want to play with this code, you can use, for example, another functionalities like, okay, I want to this turtle to move, for example, to move forward, to move backward. How can I do that? I say memo dot, there are some functions. In this case, I want to use for example, forward, for example, I say 100 steps forward, move 100 steps forward. Now let's see, you can see right now it moved forwards. And if you want to move backward, there are also another function which is called backward. See, for example, I say after you moved forward, you come 200 steps backward. Now let's see. You can see first it moves forward, then it comes backwards. You might asking yourself, where did you find this package? And there is a website, you can go there. You go to Google and write Python turtle package, this one. You can see you will find all the informations about this. For example, I used turtle forward, turtle right. Okay, for example, this it rotates into 25 degrees clockwise. So now let's use that. For example, memo dot, now what was the function? For example, turtle right, you can see, for example, 25. Now let's see what will happen. You can see it changed the direction. It changed the direction. Why it changed the direction. Now let's see. See, it changed the direction. Okay, I no longer need this. See, now it changed the direction. If you want to use other functionalities regarding, for example, lift, and you should see most likely, for example, I want to use this function. What will this function will do? Now let's see. For example, it was right, and right now if I want to use lift, it should change the direction. Mimo dot lift, for example, 50. Now let's see what will happen. I am waiting for my code. I don't know what happens to my code. It's stuck. Oops, I have to write it after this. That's why. If I want to comment this, now I want to run my code again. You will see, now it changed the direction. After it changed the direction, I say, okay, move now 100 forward. You will see, this is how you use this. You can find all the informations. For example, I changed the color, I changed, for example, you can see. All right, so this is another algorithm which used, for example, for loop. If I want to use this inside my code, now let's see what will happens. So let's see what will happen. Mem color is not defined. Okay, because I didn't define the color. Okay, you can play with this. You see, you will find a lot of informations. Lots of informations. You will find some functions, and then you can create game. Okay, let's move forward. I also talked about dot notation and how you can access some functions inside your class. Okay, this is we use dot notation. Okay. Now, why object-oriented programming is useful? Because it will make your code more organized and clean. Okay, one blueprint creates many objects efficiently. You will not need to create many classes, and for each object you create one class. And also it maps naturally to how we think about problems. Okay, and also encapsulations inside class. You have functions, method, attributes, and maintainability. It will be easy to maintain. All right, this is some packages and libraries that Python libraries that are used for different fields, like for example for data science. we use pandas and NumPy, okay? And for web development, you use the Django and Flask. For machine learning, you use TensorFlow, PyTorch, and for data visualization, Matplotlib and Seaborn. It was at the end of this lesson. Thank you for your attention and have a good day.